Hello everyone. So for the next 7 readings, I am going to be exploring the 7 deadly sins. It sounds scary, it is not. I do want to say there is absolutely no judgment attached to these readings whatsoever. I do believe that we all do actually experience these energies at different points in our lives, and the purpose of the series is not to really criticize ourselves, but to, I would say, that's my intentions, is to better understand ourselves. Sometimes different perspective can help us recognize a pattern, make a change, or just see something we might have been overlooking. Okay, so this reading is focusing on pride. Now, when people hear the word pride, they often usually think of somebody who believes they're better than everyone else, and that is a common one. That is something 100% pride. But actually, I feel that pride can show up in much more quieter ways too. Like not wanting people to see you struggle, feeling like you should be able to do everything alone, being afraid of looking foolish, making mistakes, even asking for help, okay, or allowing people to see parts of yourself that feel vulnerable. So sometimes pride isn't about feeling superior, sometimes it's really about protecting yourself from being seen, okay? So, for this reading, I have focused with this bit here. The Moon and the Nine of Swords is how is that energy limiting your growth? And then at the bottom row here with the Page of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, what change will help you reclaim your power? Okay, is what I'm focusing on there. Um, Pulled an Animal Oracle card, and I will also discuss the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck as well. So just bear with. So, with the unicorn card, I love this energy because the unicorn makes me think about uniqueness. It speaks of the parts of yourself that make you different. There's a list of things that could, where you could be unique or special. It could be you're creative, you're intuitive, you're talented, you're compassionate, just or simply authentic. Yes, there's a big list of the ways that you can be unique. But yeah, there is something about this card that really says you were never meant to be exactly like everyone else. Yeah. And what really stands out to me is the light around the unicorn. In a way, it feels protective, but it also feels like a reminder that there is more potential within you than you actually may currently recognize. Okay. And for some of you, I feel there is a part of yourself that wants to be explored more deeply. Um, and that could be a talent, a dream, a gift, an idea, a passion, or a version of yourself that you've not fully allowed to emerge yet. And the interesting thing is that sometimes pride can actually stop us from exploring those things. And if we don't try, we can't fail. If we don't, put ourselves out there, we can't be judged. If we keep certain parts of ourselves hidden, then you'll never have the risk of being exposed. So it's one of those things. Now, with the Moon and the Nine of Swords, for how this energy is limiting your growth, to me this feels like somebody becoming trapped between what they feel capable of and what they fear might happen if they actually pursue it. The Moon speaks of uncertainty, hidden fears, and doubts that sit beneath the surface. Now, the Nine of Swords speaks of anxiety, overthinking, and worrying about things before they've even happened. You know, kind of like, you question yourself, what if you get this wrong? Yeah, so you don't do anything because of that uncertainty. Now, for some of you, this fear may be stopping you from taking action. For others, it may be stopping you from asking for help, sharing your ideas, speaking your truth, or taking a chance on yourself as well, my darling. And the irony is that pride may be creating that very thing it's actually trying to protect you from. And in trying to avoid failure, disappointment, or vulnerability, you may actually be preventing your own growth. So, yeah. But I say, the biggest limitation I see here isn't the lack of ability. I actually feel that it's fear disguised as, in a way, protection. Now, when I look at what changes will help you reclaim your power, you have the Page of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. I like this combination because it feels kind of like more practical. The Knight of Pentacles reminds us, that growth is process. You don't have to master something overnight. You don't have to be perfect. You simply have to keep moving forward. The Page of Swords is the curious one, the observer, the one that's happy to learn and take that information in. That's the energy that understands. I'm going to say he doesn't need all the answers before he begins, yeah? So I feel that together these cards are really asking you to replace perfection with curiosity. Instead of kind of like, what if I fail? Ask yourself, what if you learn something, yeah? Instead of needing to know the entire path, focus on just that next step. And with the Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, I like this again, because to me the Ace of Pentacles is the seed, an opportunity, the potential waiting to be developed, yeah? So I feel this card is showing you that there is something real here for you, something worth investing your time, your energy and your belief into. But like every seed, it requires patience, it requires trust, it requires you to begin before you know exactly how everything will unfold. And actually, I want to mention that what I've kept hearing throughout this reading is that your power isn't found in proving yourself. Your power, Madeleine, is found in allowing yourself to grow. So, and actually, yeah, perhaps, that lesson, that is really the lesson in pride, that wants to teach you today. You don't have to have everything figured out before you begin. You just have to be willing to take the first step, Madeleine. I wish you all the best. Have a good day. Bye-bye.